Now, as you can see, I bought a real sophisticated bottle washer here. Went to the Home Depot and bought a shower head. And so we rinse the bottle because the first thing that happens to the bottle is it gets pressurized. So it's the same pressure as the pressure in the tank. Then the valve gets turned on just a little bit more, and that's when the water goes in. When it comes off, it's just the opposite. The water comes off, then the gas pressure comes off. And when the gas pressure comes off on a full bottle, it kind of just, and so that gets a little syrupy water on the bottle. So we rinse them off, and then we air blow them down here. So this is where the bottles get mixed. How do you think that's done? How would you mix a bottle?
Shake it.
Because shake it? Yeah, well, you'd be all a mess if you opened it up then, wouldn't you? No, we don't do that.
Spin it
We do this.
yeah, that's why I say spin
We
it.
we do this. So, and that's what this machine does. This machine does that about 4 times, going around. Pardon me?
4 times per bottle? 4 times per bottle?
Yeah, I can get 6 on here. There's 6. Ooh, that's sticky.
So the syrup's at the bottom, and you get the stuff at top. And the
Yeah,
stuff-
yeah. Now sometimes, depending on the force of the water coming in, it might stir that syrup up a little bit. So some bottles are a little more colored, but for the most part, that syrup's going to stay on the bottom and just kind of float. And so we want to mix it up. So, because we don't want to do that, you can go online and go to there's a fella in somewhere, or I want to say New Hampshire or Connecticut, who runs the same machine, but he doesn't keep it in good order. And they don't have a mixer at all. When the guys grab the bottles to box them, they just kind of do this. They don't shake them, but they turn them a few times. Well, that's just a lot of work. We're going a little faster than that. So now what this does is this piece comes up, grabs the bottle, and then drops. So what I want you to do, you'll see the bottle go on there, but instead of watching the bottle go around, because all it's doing is like this, watch these 2 pieces. Just watch these go up and down, because that's grabbing the bottle, okay? And this is loud. By the time, after the first round, it's mixed. But it does 4 more times just to get it really good mix. And then it comes through here, and we got another piece of sophisticated equipment here that blows air on it, and dries it off just a little bit. It doesn't get completely. Now, once in a while, we get a bottle come through without a cap. The cap doesn't get put down into the piston down there, and we don't catch it. So as it goes around here, there's a hole in the top of these. And so as it goes around, it will leak out. It doesn't spray out, but it leaks out, stays usually within here. You might even be able to see some stains around. Yeah. But if that didn't have that, there's enough pressure in here to actually lift this up. Try to lift that up.
That's hard.
Yeah, there's a big spring in here. That spring is about that long, but right now it's compressed about like this.
And the force pressure from the bottle would make it go up.
Yes, it would make it go up, then you'd lose your bottle. And it
It
would
would go
break.
flying down.
Well, it won't go flying, but it'll hit the wall and drop down and break.
Yeah.
So it's really amazing. This was all done before computers. You know, these guys were drawing these by hand and calculating. Yeah.
It's a cut to draw those things.
And of course, everything's heavy.
Yeah.
My brain doesn't work like that.
Everything's heavy. So, okay, so we got a couple more things we need to do before we're done. Well, yeah, you can draw, but you know, they were using the protractors and the slide rules and things like that. They could do things pretty accurately, but you got to remember, cast iron is just that. It's cast. So you make a form out of sand, and then you pour molten metal into that, and then you let it cool. then you take the sand away, and hopefully it's the right size and it works perfectly. And, you know, that's what they did for 100 years.
Go down again, do we start over?
That's what you gotta do. You gotta start over. So,
Is this the labeling station?
this is the labeling station.
I know what label it is.
The labels are behind you, and the labels go on here, and as the bottle passes through, there's a light, there's a electronic light right here. As this bottle hits that light, the label shoots out. This is computer driven. This is my one piece of brand new equipment. This is a year old. And because what we were using before was a liquid glue. It was a cold glue, like Elmer's glue, except thicker. So, and
Was it clear too?
it was not clear.
Ugh.
It was opaque, it wasn't white, but it was, you know, it wasn't clear. And of course the glue had to be pumped up onto a roller, and that roller would have a squeegee on it, and when it tripped a lever, it would push the label in, the glue would catch it, bring it into the bottle. And if you had too much glue, well, then it would make everything wet. If you didn't get enough glue, it wouldn't stay on. And if you forgot to turn it off, if you stopped the machine, it would just start overflowing onto the track. So I said, I've had enough of that. And it takes 30 minutes to clean up, and you just have to clean it up after every. Now it's 2 minutes to get this started. It's 2 minutes to take it apart, and other than wiping it down once in a while, we don't have to really do too much. So this is really a nice addition to our. So the label hits it, and then it rotates as it comes in here. And a label. It's just sticky. It's just sticky.
Sticky labels.
Yeah, yeah. It's got sticky on the back side of it.
That's part of it. It's much more simple than glue.
Yes, absolutely. All right, we got one more thing that we got to do before I can sell this stuff, and that is put a Best Buy date on it. So we don't want you to drink year-old soda pop, even though you probably could.
Yeah, just.
But the industry standard for soda pop in a bottle is about 9 months. So we print a couple of the lines on our bottles, and that's done right here. This is the print head. This is the printer. This is about 2 years old, and this is all computer driven. The only thing I have to change is the code that I put onto it. And I don't have to change the date, because every day it automatically updates to 9 months out from that day.
It's put onto the glass or the bottle?
It goes on to the glass.
Oh, so it's like embedded in the glass.
No, it's ink.
Oh.
It's special ink that'll go on a wet bottle and on glass, and it's pretty dry. You can grab it right here and rub your thumb on it, and it's dry.
There's even some bottles with the exposure, some information will be on the glass.
Yeah, I've seen it before.
Yes. Yeah, different places do it different. Sometimes they're on the bottom, sometimes they're on the top. We print ours just above the label, rather than on the label, because our labels are nice colored labels, and there's not a lot of room there to put that on there. And so that does that. So I have to put the Best Buy date, and then I put a code on it that tells me when I bought it, and an invoice number, so I can go back and track something about that. So if I have to recall, the federal government says I have to have a recall plan in case somebody gets sick on my soda. If you get sick on my soda, I don't want to hear about it. Okay? Nobody's gotten sick yet, unless it's drinking too much. They say I have to have a plan in place in case I have to recall. Well, I don't want to recall all my root beer. I just want to recall the root beer that has a Best Buy date of such and such a date, and then the same coating, a certain coating. So I've got 3 ways to identify the batch that I need to recall. So it's really, really nice. And then there's a process for doing that, so we make sure that there's many people that may need to bring that stuff back and bring it back. So far, we've never had that happen, and as long as I'm here, it won't happen. The next guy might happen. So that's what happens right here. and then it comes on down to the end. This table just rotates, and we got a couple guys right here grabbing them and offloading them onto boxes. They're right here. And that's it. Pretty simple, huh?
Yeah, very cool.
It